Alrighty, well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Go to Training for Psychology of Play. My name is John Morton, and I am one of the instructors for the class. If you're in the class and you're thinking to yourself, uh-oh, John Morton's not my instructor, that's all right. We actually share our lecturing details throughout the month in an attempt to give everyone a little bit of exposure to different instructors and let everyone get slightly different perspective from all the faculty here in the Psychology of Play department. So welcome. This will be archived, so if you miss anything or you come in late or you forgot something, you want to come back to it, you can. I'll archive it, and you'll probably have the link available within about 24 hours, so you can look for it. But right, this is Psychology of Play. That's me. We'll just get into it. Talk a little bit about where we're going, what the class is going to look like. This class is really it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me, and ideally will be a lot of fun for all of you. We have a few goals. I have a few goals as we go through Psychology of Play. I really want everyone to be prepared for their education, but also for their careers. I think that it's really important in the first couple of months in school. Most people are probably coming out of creative presentation. So if so, that's awesome. You kind of get up to speed on the tools, what you're going to be using, what you're going to be asked to do throughout the month in that course. And here we kind of want to prepare you mentally for what's going to be going on. Everything kind of gets unpacked and broken down week over week. The long and the short of it is, it's really easy to get burned out in any career, but especially in a creative career where you're really asked to put a lot of yourself into your work. So doing that time and time again can really cause a lot of creative fatigue for our students, and we want people to be prepared for that, for the challenges associated with it. And we think that making sure that we're taking care of ourselves as well as having fun are fundamental ways to ensure that we have that creative longevity in our careers. That's the easiest, fastest way to describe that without really going super deep into our coursework. So I'll just keep going on from there. So every week we're going to have, something along these lines. You'll have all your activities for the week. It gets broken down. Each week is going to be pretty similar, at least in this class. One week to the next, you'll see all your assignments will show up. You'll see the open dates for them, or the published dates. That's when the assignments are available, as well as the close dates. So you want to look really closely at your close dates. I know for our class right now, I know that we have stuff that opened up yesterday and that will close today. It's our weekly plan activity. So just make sure that you've gone ahead, looked over your weekly plans. You're getting your submissions turned in. Because, right, again, we have our activity 1.1 Essentials E3, as well as our weekly plan for week 1, activity 1.1 and 1.3. So make sure that you've gone and looked in at those, made your submissions before tonight at 11:59 Eastern time. That's the other thing. No matter where you are in the world, Full Sail is operating on Eastern time. So just kind of keep that in mind. Just if you're in on the West Coast and it's only 11 a.m. there, keep in mind that we're 3 hours ahead and that you're going to be held to the Eastern Standard Time deadlines. So just kind of something to think about. Sorry, some Yep. If you live in another country, you can take the course online. Yeah, absolutely. We have students all over the world. We have international students, and we have students who are U.S. military members who are stationed wherever they are throughout the world. Who can be taking classes online. So it's nice for them. It kind of frees them up to do education at their own pace. So again, so far we have our Essentials E3, our weekly plan, our live lecture, which everyone is attending right now. To answer the question about the weekly plan, we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. But it can be school stuff, work stuff, all sorts of things along those lines. Any real, kind of things that you want to get done, responsibilities that you have to take care of, so on and so forth in that way. We have readings each week. We're going to be, having readings. You're going to be asked to discuss those readings afterwards. So make sure that you have read them because again, the discussion that's there, the activity 1.5 is going to ask you to discuss things directly from the reading. So just make sure that you're doing that. Similarly, the brain teaser is a quiz. We've called it different things at different points in time, but it's a quiz. So it's a test. It's an assessment. It's multiple choice, but it's going to be straight from the readings. So just make sure that that you're doing the readings. You can go back and refer back to the readings during the test. So I would definitely recommend reading over it once before you start, but then keeping it open so you can go back in and check and keep an eye on that as you move through the assignment. But this is what the week will look like. You'll see the open dates and the close dates. You see some activities are weighted. There's at the bottom, you can see a weight associated with them. That is the percentage of your overall grade that they are worth. So if you miss an activity or you get a grade that you don't love, kind of go back and check the weight and see what the weight is for it, and just kind of go from there as far as when you're thinking about what your overall grade is going to look like. So the weekly plan. The weekly plan gets broken down into four different sections. You have the work, play, fit, push sections of the weekly plan. So work is this can be schoolwork that you have to get done. This can be your job. This can be your responsibilities around the house. This can be anything that you really need to take care of. Maybe you're helping people with things. Maybe you're helping your friend move. Any kind of what most people might call adulting. Kind of grown up responsibilities that you have to take care of. I really encourage students to put their schoolwork in here. And I actually encourage people to go activity by activity and actually write, today, Tuesday, I'm going to work on, my Essentials E3 and my weekly plan. Like, get those things done today. That's two different activities for that one day. But actually going through and planning out all of your work. So the due dates and the deadlines for the work are they're there for you, so you know when they're due. I'd always encourage people to make sure that you've looked at your assignments ahead of their actual due date, because some of them take a little bit longer than you might assume. Some of them are going to be maybe a little bit more involved than you thought. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through, but put those into your weekly plan. You say, I'm going to work on, my discussion board. I can do that. The initial post for the discussion board is Thursday. So maybe Wednesday, start your discussion post. If you want to add to it, keep adding to it on Thursday. Make sure it gets posted by Thursday. The activity doesn't actually close until Sunday. But in an ideal world, we have our initial posts in by Thursday. If for any reason you are unable to make the initial post deadline, you can still make the entire post but you'll receive a 10-point deduction for missing the initial deadline. You can make that up by responding to an additional peer. But again, that all really to say, put these things into your weekly plan. It's a great place to put them. Is your lesson for the week one different than ours? Yeah, I'm sorry. These are old templates. I think we've made it so that all the activities, yes. Alyssa, to answer your question, you have yes. sorry. The example that I was using right here is an old example. This isn't actually what this week's. This is from November. So this is an old example. So my apologies. When we made this slide deck, this is it's old. So apologies. But right. So I think that hopefully should cover the work section. If you have any questions about that, you can email, you can ask if you want. I would definitely say, keep your schoolwork on there. That's a great way to make sure your schoolwork's getting done. And above and beyond that, as you see things that, need to get done, you can plan ahead. I like to front load my work into my week where I get all my, big important work done at the beginning of the week. So that way at the end of the week, I have time for fun. And if I, for any reason, something new and exciting comes up that I want to do, I know I have free time to do it. Also, if my work takes longer than I thought, I still have an extra time at the end of the week to get it done then. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't wait till Sunday to start doing all your assignments. The play section, it's pretty broad. Really, anything that you're doing that you think is fun, that is also professional. That is to say, it is not illegal or something that is a private, intimate thing. I don't think that I need to go too far in depth with examples there, but keep it professional. That's the easiest way to say that. Whatever you're doing for fun. If you're playing a video game, let us know what video game you're playing. If you're going on a quest with your friends in a game, or if you're streaming on Twitch, whatever it is that you're doing, let us know. Steven said the only things I really do play wise is chores with your 3-year-old and Destiny 2 on Xbox One. Yeah, sure. That's I get it. Yeah. Everyone has their own things. Maybe and this applies to the entire schedule. If for any reason you're unable to, or you don't think that you'll have time for things, work on the schedule. Treat the weekly plan like you have all the time in the world. In an ideal circumstance, what would that look like? Alyssa, if you're confused, your instructor is Terrence. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Terrence is one of my peers. We work collectively during our go-to training, so not a problem. You're still in the right place. I have his class and several other instructors' classes are all here together for the go-to training. Real quick, I'm just going to ask everybody if we could keep all of our chat in a chat box straight back and forth, just conversational with me and each of you. So if you have a question or something that you want me to comment on, as opposed to comments back and forth, only because the chat ends up scrolling by really fast and I have a tendency to miss questions that way. If you want to message each other privately, you're welcome to do that. I just wanted to give everybody a quick heads up on that. It just makes it easier for me to read everything as it goes by. So right, the play section, I'd encourage people to make time. If you aren't currently carving time out in your day for play activities, and I don't mean 3 hours of play. It's going to be 20 minutes. If it's not a regular part of your day, I'd encourage you to take some time and start thinking about ways to start incorporating play back into your daily routines and see how it works for you. So fit. This is one of the ones that inevitably someone says, I don't work out, and they just write that in and they paste it across all the boxes. And I'm not asking anyone to work out. That's the best part. If you don't work out, that's fine. If you do, that's great. You can put that in there. Can it apply to our job in the fit section? If you want to explain how they relate, I'd be interested to hear. What I'd encourage everyone to do is to use the fit section to think about your overall health, well-being, fitness. So physical, mental, spiritual fitness, if that's something that's important to you. Whatever that looks like, whatever things you're doing to take care of yourself and to ensure that, you're at your best. That's really what we're looking for in the fit section. So some people, are yoga practitioners and they want to do that. And some people are reading a self-help book, and some people really want to go to church and they think that that's their thing. Whatever it is that works for you the best, is probably what I encourage you to put there. Nicholas, if I would encourage you to use the fit section as a way to branch out. I realize a lot of people, you've got something physical that you're doing for work. I'd encourage you to use it for something different than work. I realize that there's physical strength related to what you're doing, but I really want it to be dedicated to things you're doing specifically to take care of yourself. Whatever that looks like for you. And it can be more physical activity if you want. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, doing physical activity. I definitely had a job in a warehouse when I was in college, and I was in great shape. So I totally relate to that. But what are the things above and beyond that you're doing to really take care of yourself and make sure that you're able to operate at your peak? That's kind of what we're looking for in the fit section. So it can be any of those things. If you have questions, again, jump in with them, or you can email me or your instructor afterwards if you have a question specifically about, things that fit into each section. We're usually pretty flexible. I'm especially with week one, I realized that everyone's just kind of getting onto the same page with everything. So I understand it can be a little bit hectic. And the last section is the push section. So in the push section, we're looking for things that we're doing above and beyond what's expected of us. So, it's expected that you're going to go to, class and get your classwork done. It's an expectation that you probably, if you have a job, go to work and get those things done. You probably have chores that you're expected to do, feed the dog, take out the garbage, whatever your regular stuff is. That's all normal stuff. We're looking for, what are you doing kind of above and beyond to reach towards, your larger goals in life? What are things that you're really, that you're stretching yourself to do? What's something that, and these can be fully aspirational. The one thing that I'll say about that, if you're working on learning a new language, don't write learn Japanese in every box. Because while you may be working towards a goal that is related to learning Japanese, I'd rather you tell me what specific actionable tasks you can do each day that lead towards that overarching goal. So, if you're downloading a language learning software, you can put, I downloaded the software today. This day doing the first 2 lessons on, this language, or today I'm, going through a vocabulary list on my, new language learning. Whatever that looks like. They don't all have to be related to one goal. They can be related to different goals. But what are you doing to push yourself above and beyond the expectations that are currently set on you in your regular life? So that's what the push goals are for. Again, these can be totally aspirational. I realize that some people just can't make time for things. But if you had a little bit more time in the day, maybe what would things be that you'd be reaching for, that you'd be striving for, that you think are worth reaching out for and achieving? And what I encourage everyone to do is to refer back to this throughout the week. every now and then our schedules, if they're are real busy, and sometimes something falls out of them. Something, maybe someone cancels an appointment we're supposed to go to. Maybe we find ourselves with a little bit extra time. It's real easy for us to say, oh, well, this happened, and I guess I'm just going to hang out and sit around and goof off. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's fine. But sometimes we want to say, hey, I want to utilize this time a little bit better. How can I make better use of this time? And if we have goals set up, on deck already, we've got things that are just kind of right there at hand. And we can say, okay, I'm going to go work on this thing right now. So that's what I'd encourage everyone to do with the weekly plan. At the end of the weekly plan, there are some kind of open free response questions. We're looking for full paragraph responses in those. Just make sure that you're answering the question fully, using complete sentences and a full paragraph. So I'd say in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 sentences is what we're looking for paragraph-wise. So that is what the weekly plans will look like. Does anyone have any question about the weekly plan activity? It's due tonight. So if you have them, it might be easier to get those questions out now than to wait and ask later. But if you want to ask your instructor, you want to message me later, you're welcome to. Dylan has no questions. Good to know, Dylan. Well, yes, it's due tonight. The weekly plan is due tonight by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. All right. People are either feverishly typing or they have no questions. All right, I'll move on. If you have a question, jump in. I'll be happy to answer it. So we have our discussion board. That's the next activity we were talking about. Discussion board questions are going to be directly related to the readings that we go through each week. So real quick, I'm actually going to switch over. Bear with me for just a moment. Alrighty. Can everyone still see my screen? Sorry for switching over. I realized. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. So this is what our weekly plan activity will look like. We'll make our initial post. Our initial posts for these are due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And right, it says in your initial post, provide at least a paragraph for each of the following questions. Paragraph is 5 to 6 detailed sentences. Please post directly in the discussion board. If you finished it too, that's excellent. I'm sorry, Brittany, you asked the question, do you blink copy of the weekly plan? I don't understand what you mean by that. Would you mind explaining the question? While we're on that, I'm gonna dive in real quick with our questions we're going to be asked. Matthew, to answer your question, it says I saw there were 2 discussion boards this week. What was the post for the first discussion board? I'm not quite sure. So the activities for this week are. I'll just pull them up. You just saw the example of the weekly plan. All right. So this week, right, we have our weekly plans. They're here. I'm sorry. The discussion board activity 1.0. That's It's just there for you all to communicate back and forth. It's a place to talk if you want to talk about what's going on in class, if you want to talk about what you're doing outside of class. Keep it professional, but that's what that's there for, generally speaking. Brittany, are you asking if there's a blank copy of the weekly plan? Yes. If you go into the weekly plan activity, and I'll just click on someone who didn't submit. So if you go down at the bottom right here, this is the blank weekly plan document. So just scroll down to the bottom of the instructions. It'll say work, play, fit, push _ week 1 plan. You'll click on that, and that'll be it. Does that help? All right. So awesome. I'm glad that helps. So back to Matthew, I think that we are clear. The community board is just a place for you to discuss. Yeah, it's just a blank place, a blank space for everyone to chat and have a conversation. The actual discussion board post should be here in activity 1.6 that says discussion play. That's where that is housed. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, we'll go back here and we'll look at the directions for that. So the first question says, describe an activity that you find fun. Please keep it professional. So what's the activity? What do you enjoy most about that activity? And lastly, how would you talk others into trying this activity? So kind of just answer those. Those are the questions. Number 2, identify and define at least 2 concepts from the week 1 reading. This is one of the questions, or one of the things that kind of tends to get people in the class. There's a lot of times there's discussion topics, and you can tell because it'll be a very big, bold headline word at the beginning of one of the readings. That's going to be a discussion topic. Within that, there may be subtopics. What I encourage everyone to do is to take a discussion topic from each reading. Pick one from each of the readings, because every week has at least 2 readings. If you pick one topic from each reading to discuss in your discussion board, you'll never run into the issue where you've kind of discussed subtopics within a topic. So I would say identify and define at least 2 concepts, one from each of the readings, and talk about those. So identify it. What was the topic? How would you define it in your own words? You don't have to do it verbatim. We're not looking for that. We're looking for you to show that you understand what the topic was about. So discuss it in your own words. Tell us a little bit about it. What did you think was interesting? What do you think it means? After that, provide an example of how these concepts tie into the activity that you described before, the fun activity that you have. So kind of as you're going through, think about, what's fun about this, and then how do these other topics kind of tie back into that activity. We want there to be some connectivity between your third and first answer. Number 4, what percentage of your play goals did you complete this week? How did play impact your week? Mood, motivation, etc. And lastly, upload an image of you engaging in play. So whatever it is that you're doing, in the first activity, if it's like take a picture of yourself having fun doing that thing, upload that along with a discussion board, and that's it. Again, it says, please note, please post directly to discussion board. So what that means is, I'm not looking for you to take, if you were to make a Word file or a Pages file and then upload that. I'd actually prefer that you scroll down here to the bottom, type in, it won't say feedback, you'll have one that says post. This is just, I have a different view. In your post section, make the post that you want to make, type it all in there, and then post it. The numbers breakdown looks like this. thoroughly addressed all of the questions and meets length requirement. It's worth 30 points. Provides clear and specific examples and or concepts in the initial post. So this is right here. This is show me that you did the reading. Make it clear that you understand the topics that we're discussing in the class. Respond to at least 2 classmates using the RISE model for giving feedback. The RISE model, for anyone who has questions about it, is right up here. It's 4 points. Reflect, inquire, suggest, and elevate. So kind of get back to your peers using that model. Dylan, I usually use Word, then copy and paste because web page refreshes from time to time. That's a great idea. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that it's a really smart idea to put it all into Word or whatever you're using, and then copy and paste it. It's just the difference between submitting a Word file or submitting it in the actual post section. So however you want to do it on your end at home is great. Just make sure that when you actually make the submission that you're doing it as a post and not just attaching a document. Yeah, no, that's fine, of course. Yeah, no, you're in good shape if you do that. Thank you for asking, though. All right, makes no spelling or grammatical errors. It's worth 10 points. And lastly, it says meets the initial post deadline of Thursday night. Make your initial post by Thursday night. If you miss that, you can respond to an initial peer to a total of 3 classmates altogether using the RISE model. So instead of responding to 2 classmates, you'd respond to 3 classmates, and you can make those points up if for any chance you miss them. So if you miss the deadline, still make your post and then respond to an additional peer, and you can still earn 100% for the activity. Does anyone have any questions at all about the discussion board? Nope. Okay, wonderful. If you do, I will happily circle back. It's not a problem. Screen switched again. Everybody's still good with the screens. It should say check your messages daily. So everyone sees that. Awesome. Wonderful. Sorry, I recently updated my computer and it's all working the way it's supposed to now, and I'm really loving it. So I'm very happy about it. Check your messages daily. That's what that says. Your teachers will message you. Your peers may message you. Kind of keep an idea of what's going on. My class, you should have announcements from me. I'll send out I sent one out last night or this morning. Kind of like a welcome video, welcome for the week. So you'll probably have things going on like that. But yeah, check your messages, check your emails, check them fairly regularly. You never know, what could be going on. Maybe, even if you submitted things. I know a lot of times people will accidentally submit blank documents. They're like, oh, I downloaded this document but I submitted the wrong one. So just kind of make sure you're checking stuff, because I always reach out to people and let them know what's going on. Nicholas, so I had a question about the iPads. What kind of stuff should we expect to do on them? I think that for everything that you need to do for our class, you should be able to do on an iPad. That should facilitate all your needs. I think that's probably reasonable. I don't think there's anything that we're going to ask you to do that you wouldn't be able to do on them. Yeah, your student liaison would probably be able to tell you. But yeah, if you're working off of an iPad, that's fine. Pretty much everything that we're asking you to do is doable from the iPad. I don't think that you'll be asked to do anything highly technical that will require something else until you have your computer. Whoops, everything just went by quickly. Give me just a minute. Yep. Make sure you have Microsoft Office. That's smart. Yep. School sent it. Yep. Okay. I think that I'm sorry. I'm just reading everyone's comments real quick. Yeah. Okay. I think everyone is pretty clear. Yeah. I think that you should be able to get everything done on your iPad. Um, I think I've actually had students come through who just just used a phone before. Um, not everything always translates exactly perfectly. I know, especially when we're kind of jumping from one format to the next. But I'm pretty understanding about the fact that we have technical limitations with what we're doing. If things aren't always exactly the way that I'd hope they would be, I do my best to be understanding. I'm really looking for people to um, be aligned with the spirit of their education. That's what I'm most looking for. I want to know that you're putting your effort in. I think that you can look at it. If you go back and look at the weights, the discussion board is the most heavily weighted activity each week, and it really just requires you. I guess you have to upload a photo, but that's fairly easy to do, I'm sure, with an iPad. Um, we just want to know that people are getting the information, that we're conveying the information we're attempting to convey. That's what we're really looking for. Melissa, I believe the more technology launchbox based classes come into play around month 4. Yep. We start receiving trade based classes, right? Yes, correct. You're 100% correct on that. Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about play, because we tease it out there. We say psychology of play. At the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, any point in the day, play is an important part of what we're doing. I think everyone probably has some sort of an idea about what they're doing, and it likely ties into why you came here. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that most people are working into or towards a career in something that they're passionate about. They probably find enjoyable. Yes, mostly, or no. Really, if that doesn't describe you, I mean, I'm interested to hear. Yeah, okay. It seems like for the most part, inevitably, I'm sure someone will say, I'm not sure yet," and that's fine. Um, right. So people have a passion. That's what we. I feel like that's what we attract more than anything else. Is we attract a passionate group of students who are really interested in making their dreams a reality. And it's it's not the messaging that I think a lot of people get. I don't think that was the messaging that I got when I went to school. I went to a traditional university here in Florida. Um, and right, it wasn't follow your passion and do the things that you love to do. And it's fine. It's all good. I'm not been ashamed about it, but right, we want people to be engaged with their passion, do the thing that you love most. That's really what's important, and we want people to follow through with that. um, Most of us um, most of us probably have some ideas about what we see, what our vision is. We have an idea. We can take a step back and say, hey, here's kind of the big picture of what I want. Here's what I want out of life. But the path to get there may be hidden. It may be a path that we don't fully understand. Maybe we can see, we say, hey, there's that place up on the hill, I want to get to there, but I don't know what the path looks like. And so I think anyone in that situation says, okay, well, I need a guide. I need a guide who's been there. I need someone who maybe has some experience on navigating the path that I'm attempting to navigate myself. And we have that. That's fortunately is what our education is like. We can facilitate that for students, and help them get to where they want to go. Um, when it comes to our students, I think that we want people to have the hallmarks of a happy career. So we want them to be creative, successful, innovative, all that stuff. And I think that it's fine to sit and say, we want you to have this, and that's great. But what I think a lot of people are saying is, okay, well, how are we going to facilitate that? And that's really where I think play comes in. You'll get into the kind of the mechanical, mental, chemical breakdown of how stress affects us, but play is effectively like a recharge for us. I think people, when you are stressed or you're having something, you go out and you play, you enjoy yourself, you come back, you feel refreshed. Maybe you're physically more tired, but mentally more alive and awake. Um, yeah, exactly. It's a de-stressor. Um, it's one of the things that we really believe in, and why we dedicate as much of this class to it as we do. But right, it's important for all of us, if we expect to be able to reap the benefits of our education and our connections and the careers that we made. We need to be able to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and play is a huge part of that. It's one of the things that really will keep us leveled out chemically, as far as stress hormones go, things like that. Um, so, would you say it's meditative? I, I don't know that I would say play is meditative. You can meditation, excuse me, can be part of that for you. It doesn't have to be. I think it's going to be really different for each person, and I think that's what's unique about it. Is there a second live lecture at the end of the week to recap? No, there's not. I do this lecture. It is for 2 hours. You can rewatch it at the end of the week if you want. But you can also reach out to your instructors, talk to them. You could reach out to me. I'd be happy to recap at the end of the week if that's something you're interested in doing. I think the discussion board really tends to facilitate that. So that's that's fine. Each class will be structured a little bit differently. Some will have more lectures than others. Some will have more discussion boards than others. So each one is going to be a little bit different. So they're not always going to follow exactly the same schedule. Usually the one deadline you can always count on is that the weekends at 11:59 on Sunday, and that's always going to be there. Sorry. That's why we have play. We when we engage, we really dive into something deeper than just the fun activity that we have. You'll go through this a little bit in the readings, but you can look at your play historically and think about how play as a child shapes what we're doing now as adults. It's really interesting. I think that we maybe kind of write it off a lot. We say, oh, plays for kids. It's not a big deal. It's not something that we need to do. It's a waste of time. On the contrary, I think it's really important. I think that a lot of people haven't figured that out yet, in the professional world, in the kind of buttoned up business world. And it's not to point fingers at people and say they're doing it wrong. They're just like, we work in the systems that we understand. So if your system doesn't include this, it's hard to make room for it. It's hard to justify it. But there's more and more actual data that backs it up and says, no, it's important to play. It's important to look at this stuff. So it's fun to think about. We'll go through the definitions of play, defining play. We'll start with apparently purposeless. And I think this is one that really gets a lot of people, because I just got done saying that it's really beneficial for you. Camille, you're asking, is this class based off the Lego concept that play is constructive to productive and creativity? I don't know that it was based on that idea specifically from Lego, but yes. we do want people to realize that play is something. Is conducive to productivity and creativity. It's absolutely aligned with that same idea. I don't know that they derived it specifically from a concept at Lego, but a little bit. That's exactly the right answer. Um, so right, apparently purposeless. We're doing play for its own for the joy of doing it. We're not doing it for a gain or some monetary benefit. We're just in it to have fun. It's voluntary. We're enjoying ourselves. No one is making us do it. We're not we're not obligated to go play. It's something that we really just want to go do. We're out to have fun because we want to. There's an inherent attraction in play. So you see other people playing and you want to get in. You say, "Oh wow, those people are doing something that looks like a lot of fun. I want to have fun too. How can I go do that?" So it's something that it doesn't. We don't need to be sold on it. We just see it and we say, "Yep, that's for me." We experience a freedom from time when we play, and I'm sure that some people have probably experienced this to their detriment. I know I have at different times. Sometimes you'll be playing a game or you're reading a book or watching a movie, and you look up from it and hours have gone by and you think, oh wow, where's the time gone? It seems like it's only been a few minutes, but all this time has passed because you're experiencing freedom from time. You seem not to notice the passage of time when you're engaged in play. Diminished consciousness of self comes across in a couple different ways. The first one, I think, it's easy to see people are playing and having fun. You forget about hunger. You forget about physical pain. You forget about being, physically tired. You're just kind of less aware of those things because you're really truly engaged in something and you're having a good time. Similarly, I think that people, when you're engaged in play, it's easy to not be worried about looking silly or what people are going to think about you because you're having fun, you're enjoying yourself, you're having a good time. What people think kind of tends not to matter at that point. You're just saying, hey, I'm here and I'm having fun, and if I look silly doing it, that's okay with me. Play facilitates a improvisational potential, so there's kind of always room to make our own path up in play, to improvise, to go off script. It's there and it's available for us. This continuation desire. So usually when you started playing, you want to keep playing or you want to come back to play later on. So it tends to continue to draw us back in and be something that we return to on a fairly regular basis. Don't confuse these with the play personalities. We're going to talk about play personalities in the second half of this. But yeah, so that's the qualities of play. It says, remember, it's about the journey and not the outcome. I think that's a big one with play, and with this course overall. We really want to equip you. That's my real goal throughout this course, is to equip you for the rest of your journey. So as you move through, you might say, this doesn't, I don't know that my schedule's not that busy. I don't know why I need to make a weekly plan. Well, it might get busier, or I have plenty of time for play. Why do I need to, make sure I'm incorporating play in my life? Well, you might get busy. Things might come up. It's important to kind of get these ideas going at the beginning of our journey, because it's much easier to keep a habit going than it is to start a new habit. It's much easier to, keep doing something, a good behavior that we're doing, a good practice that we're involved in. It's much easier to keep that going than it is to start a new thing. So if we can start off all the students that we meet with, kind of the best practices, I think everyone's in a better place overall as they move through their education. That's the end of the first half. I'm going to give everybody about a 10-minute break. We'll come back at the top of the hour. So 10, 11 minutes. I have 2:49 right now. I'll come back at 3 o'clock. So 10 minutes from now, I'll come back and we'll keep going with the second half. Welcome back to the second half of the go-to training. Again, just want to check, can everyone hear me and see my screen? Should say welcome to Psychology of Play. Yes. Awesome. Wonderful. There's one question about the weekly plan template. It is just a template. It's blank. It is a blank document, so you will have to go in and fill it all up. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. It is what we'll have to do, so keep that in mind. All right. So we're going to talk about play personalities, some of the benefits of play, and ways that we can reconnect with play. Can't hear anything, huh? Can anyone else hear me? Oh, you don't see my screen. Oh, no. Well, give me just a minute. Can you hear me? And can you see my screen? Yes? Yes. No. Yes and no. No screen. Okay, give me a second. We'll go back. How's that? Is that better? No screen still? Nope. Okay. Oh. How about now? Yes. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Well, we're back on track. Sorry about that. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to talk about play personalities, benefits of play, and ways we can reconnect with play. Huh. Odd. I wonder what's going on. It seems like it keeps going back and forth with everybody. White screen. Any different now? It's changing? Odd. I wonder what's going on. It's very strange. Let me try one more thing. You see my mouse. Well, that's good. There? Now we can see it? Okay. Weird. So strange it keeps going back and forth like this. I have no idea why, but we'll keep moving forward. I won't touch anything. We'll see how it goes. All right. So we've already discussed play is valuable. I don't think that anyone has too much. I mean, you may have an argument for it. If you do, we can talk about that. But I think the idea that play is valuable as an adult is kind of we've established that a little bit. I think you'll see it more and more as the month continues on. If you don't think it's valuable, that's totally that is okay opinion to have. I think that if that's the situation you find yourself in, I just encourage you to be open-minded throughout the month as you move forward. You may start to see some value in it. So that's as much as I'll say about that. Otherwise, I think it's pretty valuable. I really enjoy the play that I get to have in my life, and I really value that time. So I hope everyone else gets a similar experience. So we've kind of equated play and seriousness in this way where we say, children are playing, but the adults are busy with very grown-up things, and we all need to, look a certain way and act a certain way. And that's my adult voice. But right, I think that there's a blurring of lines that's occurring especially in technology fields where people are just kind of taking a step back. Everyone loosens their tie for a minute and they say, hey, maybe we should cool out just for a minute. Maybe we should take a step back and think about, is it worth, are we getting the results that we want by demanding everyone act and dress and look a certain way? Um, and I think that that's where people are finding gains. You look at the big tech companies, look at Google and Apple, Pixar, Amazon. I don't know how much Amazon is that way, because I don't know anyone there. But a lot of the big technology companies, they really have fairly relaxed environments, and they're very serious about the work that they do. But they don't feel like there's this culture of acting serious and looking serious that needs to go along with it. Well, that's great to hear. I'm glad. Amazon, super awesome. Very cool. Lots of fun things to do, tons of Nerf guns. That's cool. I'm really glad to hear that. That's awesome. I feel like all the Amazon drivers who I see always look really busy and a little bit manic, but I get it. They've got a lot of packages to deliver. But that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that they're having fun there as well. And that's kind of the idea. We're blurring the lines where I think, I'll use my life as an example. My dad was in banking, and it was a really buttoned up, all right, be serious, we're at the bank, and don't cause us, don't play around, and I was a kid who wanted to have fun, so um I wanted to enjoy myself. Camille says most companies here in Austin are trying very hard to put play in the workplace. That's awesome to hear. I hear great things about Austin, so I believe it. Um, if being an adult means losing out and enjoying yourself, I want no part of it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's what people have found. They said, hey, we can still have fun and we can have a good time, but we can also get work done. We can also accomplish our goals. We can set out and design and do big things. And we have pretty interesting and productive results when we do that. Yeah, Brian, consider working out play. Yeah, I'm with you in that. Like I really enjoy my workouts. I like to run a lot. I like to do like core exercise and strength training. I think it's really important. And I get a lot mentally, just a refresh out of doing it. So I get you. Everyone's play activities are going to be different. I also really like gardening. So, my what is fun for me and what's fun for other people. Some people are like, that all sounds like work and manual labor and horrible things. Yeah, Matthew likes golf, playing with pets. Sure, everyone's going to have a little bit of a different idea. Yeah, Megan likes video games. I like video games too, in fairness. But yeah, everyone will have like a slightly different thing. I like being creative. I like doing woodworking projects. All sorts of things that we can do that are all going to be a little bit different. So looking back at your play history, this is a big one. When we look back at our lives, and this is something you'll dive a little bit deeper into um, as you go through the readings. But you look at your play activities as a child and how those are related now to what you're doing with your career. Um, I think it's really interesting. I won't dive into it because it's a big part of the reading. So I'd encourage everyone to stop and think while they're going through and go through the play history activity. But it's really interesting, kind of thinking about what we did as kids and what we found fun then, and how that relates to what we're doing now with our lives. So that's something to think about. So we have the play personalities. We're going to go through these one at a time. So they're all listed here at once. Joker, explorer, kinesthete, competitor, artist, director, storyteller, and collector. And we'll go through them one at a time. So the Joker, I think everyone probably has someone who is, practical jokes, likes to have fun, likes to laugh. Oftentimes, self-deprecating humor goes along with this. You can. It's very reasonable that you'll identify with many of these, not just one. So it's likely a lot of people, will find this as one they can relate to. Um, the Explorer. I think the Explorer is one that a lot of us are, but maybe we don't know we are. I definitely like some dad jokes. Absolutely. Dad jokes are great. Um, the explorer play personality is really interesting though, because I think a lot of people say, well, I don't travel. I don't have the resources to travel. I can't go different places. I can't go hiking in the mountains. I don't. That's not me. And I'd encourage people to really take a step back and say, is that really a limitation that you have? Um, because I like to explore in any way that I can. I really think it's fun to like pull up Google Earth and just look around and say, I wonder what the streets look like in this part of the world. I wonder what people are doing over there. Some people like to travel and explore through books. Some people like to explore imaginary worlds. If you're really big into open world games, I don't want to open the can of worms that comes along with acknowledging it, but I'm currently playing the latest Red Dead Redemption game, which is huge, massive open world game. It's got tons of places you can walk around, you can explore, you can, kind of experience this whole new environment. And it's not real. It's not in reality. But right. You get to go out and explore things through a different, kind of lens, other than the natural world that we're experiencing around us. So I think there's a lot of ways to be explorers, that aren't the traditional, I'm going out on an expedition kind of a thing. So before you write yourself off as not an explorer, think about some ways you maybe like to explore. We have the kinesthete. This is someone who usually is into movement. They want to move, they want to dance, they want to run, they want to jump. um, it's funny. I have one kid who I'm like, who is definitely this way. Runs, jumps, never stops. Wants to be in motion. Eh, that is a great description of the kinesthete. You get athletes, runners, dancers, all sorts of other people who really fall into the kinesthetic mentality and want to be in motion. We have the competitor. The competitor is someone who will likely compete in anything. What it is doesn't really matter. They're after the competition. Some people get competitive around certain friends or around certain groups or in certain situations. I have certain friends who I think it's really fun to compete with, and some people who competition for its own sake doesn't do a lot for me. But I have certain friends who, when I compete with, I really want to play hard and give them a run for their money. We have the artist personality, which I think likely everyone at Full Sail usually has some sort of artist or creative in them. And some people, again, say, oh, I don't draw or I don't paint, so I'm not an artist. But I encourage you to really take a step back and look at things like creative problem solving. If you aren't a traditional art form artist, are there other ways that you have used creativity in other things? Can you do creative problem solving in business situations, or in other situations that come up in your life? Because I think that those are just as important and just as artistic. And I think that some people say, oh, that's a logical problem solving thing. But there is a creativity and an artistry to it that I think is important to acknowledge. Acknowledging our creative side and saying, hey, you know what? No, I do. I have creative abilities. I'm able to, see the world in a different way. I'm able to solve problems in a different way than my peers. I think it's really important. Yeah, dancing is a great art. Yeah, you can be an artist with music. Yeah, everything really does afford us the opportunity to practice and demonstrate the artist within. So we have the director play personality. Cooking is a big one, absolutely. The director, this is probably someone who maybe likes to organize things, but maybe doesn't so much enjoy execution. When I was a kid, I liked to set my toys up, like set them up and make an elaborate scene. I would stage a scene with my toys, but I never like playing with them. I like to put them all in place and have them be all just right. And then kind of think about storylines and things like that. But I didn't actually get a lot of joy out of playing with my toy. I didn't pick people up and hit them and things like that. So everyone can probably relate to that at some level or another. But yeah, that's this is director play personality. It's kind of likes to set everything in place and call the shots. We have the storytellers. I am a story listener. I love listening to a good story. To the best of my ability, I like to tell stories. I feel like there are a lot of people who really have this ability, who have me beat in this one. It doesn't stop me from trying. I do like telling stories from time to time. Some people, right, oral tradition, how our history has been passed down by word of mouth. We have people who are writing fiction, who want to share their stories with other people. We have people who are storytellers when they play Dungeons and Dragons. They're a dungeon master and they're creating a story for their friends to play. They enjoy that creative part of that. They enjoy telling a story and making things up as they go. So it's there. It's accessible for all of us. We have collectors. It seems like everyone at some point has some sort of a collection. I think that's a fairly normal way to be. I collected a lot of things as a child, and as an adult, I got rid of a lot of things. I currently have a pretty extensive collection of exotic fruit trees. That's what I do in my free time. I keep fruit trees. Yes, it seems like a lot of people have those pop figures. Absolutely. River rocks. That's fun. Yeah. So everyone has their own thing that they like, and it can really be a lot of fun for people. We get a lot of joy out of what we're doing. The collections that we have, being around them, seeing them, enjoying them. 14 pounds of Legos. That's a lot of Legos. All right. So again, those are our play personalities that we talked about. So some of the benefits of play. Play gives us an opportunity to connect and reconnect with others. So, we can connect with our friends, our family, our peers. The Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I believe it. They are very popular. But again, play connects us. It gives us opportunity to connect with our friends and with our peers, with our parents. Think about as children, we connect with our parents. Now as a parent, I think about, play connecting with my kids, giving me an opportunity to hang out and have fun with them. We all enjoy time together. It's a great way to connect with people, have fun, and enjoy yourself. So play fosters creativity, flexibility, and learning. I tend to agree on that. It gives us a lot of opportunities that we might not otherwise have. You think about things like pretend play. When you create a situation for yourself, you can invent problems and then solve them within play situations, and it's nice. It's a safe way to really explore the world, because no one wants to go out into the world and have things hit them right in the face. It's a scary world out there. There's a lot of things going on, but you think about all the life scenarios that maybe you walked through in play activities as a child. You said, what was this like? Is this something I enjoyed doing? Is this something I want to do again? Is this something, and if you're at a loss for things, think about, play occupations. When I was a kid, you play policeman or play fireman or whatever pretend occupation, kids have, and you say, was that fun? Is that something I want to do with my life? But it's a safe way to kind of walk through and say, is this something that I was interested in? Is this something that I liked? We have new ways of learning about the world through play. Stress reduction is a huge one. I think that everyone probably agrees with this. It's a great way to relax, to blow off steam, to have a good time. Um, I I agree entirely. Perseverance for sure. I think that anyone who's really gone through, I don't, whether it's a sports season or getting to the end of a game. Alyssa solved the Rubik's cube. Yeah, you persevere, you work through it. Absolutely, those are all great ways to think about perseverance, and then you think about again, like it's confidence. When we learn perseverance, our confidence is built as well. So say, oh, I persevered in this thing, even when it was difficult or challenging, or I didn't want to do it, or it wasn't the most fun thing. And I persevered through it, and and then I got to this end place, and I'm happy with where I got, whatever that looks like. Um, Perseverance is something that really is a pretty useful tool to have in our toolkit. Play tends to make us happy. We enjoy ourselves. We have fun. It's a great way to right, enjoy what we're doing. The idea that a small amount of play goes a long way is a really big one as well. Um, like I was saying earlier when we were talking about making the weekly plans, you don't have to play for hours and hours each day. You can spend 20 minutes. 20 minutes is kind of that magic number of, you take 20 minutes, you dedicate it to having fun, to enjoying yourself, to play. Um, and it can really do a lot for you. So how to reconnect with play? A lot of us might be in a place where we say, "Hey, I haven't had a lot of play in a while. What can I do?" Um, First of all, changing how we think about play. Redefining that. Looking at play through a slightly different lens, and reassessing what we think about it. Um, th- this is an interesting. It's an interesting one. It says draw a cup of a coffee cup and a saucer, um, and, and it says, I mean, the idea is that you do it one a day, and you draw a cup and a saucer every day, and you practice it. Your first day, it will probably be, depending on your artistic. If I do it, it will not be very good. My drawing is poor, but you do it and you practice each day, and it gets a little bit better, and it looks a little bit more like what it's supposed to look like. And keep going kind of in that way, moving, a little bit by a little bit towards the direction that you want to go. It really is impressive what happens when you practice the same trait, same skill, the same thing every day over and over and over again. And I think that anyone who's really good at doing one thing got that way by practicing a lot. Some people were just naturally great at something, and if that's you, awesome. But for the rest of us, it probably means you had to practice a lot. The things that you really care about and things that you're best at, you probably had to work at pretty hard. So practicing, play, giving yourself an opportunity to play on a regular basis can probably go a long way for you. Taking the play history is another great one. Reconnecting to what we were doing as children for play and how that affects us now. I think that I'm sorry. I think that it really goes a long way, and it kind of gives us a little bit of redirection for how things ought to be when we look at play now as adults. Yes, Rob, thank you for your service. Appreciate that. Surround yourself with playful people is a big one. If you're around people who are out there having fun, having a good time, you're probably going to be having a good time as well. So similarly, if you're if you're grumpy or grumpy and upset and frustrated, you're probably going to have similar ways of being and feeling. So just kind of think about that as you're surrounding yourself with people. Are the people you're around, are they playing? Are they having fun? Are they having a good time? And yeah, how does that affect you? Pets and little ones. That's a big one. If you have pets, they always want to play, it seems. And if you have kids or younger siblings or nieces and nephews, they probably also want to play all the time. I have two small children. They love to play. They want to get outside. They want to wrestle. They want to roll around. They want to climb on me. All sorts of stuff. But they're almost always looking for it. So being around pets and little ones is a great way to re-engage with play. So we'll go over again, kind of what we learned, what we thought about. Play is important. It's important to reconnect, to find time for play, and to listening on headphones and playing with your son. Yeah, I get that because I have small children, so I know exactly what that's like. But right, make time for it. Carve out just a little bit of space, if you can. Think about the play personalities that you connect with. Play personalities are a great thing to discuss in the discussion board. That's definitely one of the topics that you're going to read about in the readings. Think about your play personality, which one you associate with most, which ones you embody, how those relate to your play overall. Does anyone have any questions about anything we've talked about thus far today, or about the week in general? Any questions at all? Okay. If you don't have any questions, you're free to go. We got through this pretty quickly. I hope nobody's too disappointed. If you want, you can sit around, hang out, ask questions. But otherwise, you all have a great week. What if you feel a little nervous about sharing a picture? Can you? I would say share maybe a picture of that is not of you, but is maybe of your play activity. It's probably what I would do. Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. It's great having this group. The next lecture is next week at 2:00. 2:00 Eastern time. Alrighty, you all have a good one. If you have questions, stick around. I'll be happy to answer them. If not, I'll see you all next time. Sure, yeah, Steve. If you want to take a screenshot of you playing Destiny, that's fine. You can use your Xbox as a play activity. However, I'd encourage you to be very specific about what game you're playing and what you're doing. Don't just write Xbox. Tuesday at 2 p.m. is the next lecture, correct? There are weekly lectures. You all have a good one. Yes, if it's raid night with clan, write that in there. Perfect. Megan, same thing I just told to before. Can you do short videos? Can you do short videos for what? Devin, I'm glad to hear it. Sounds like you're going to be in good shape. Oh, a video playing with your pets. Yes, absolutely. That'd be great. No problem. You are most welcome. Yep. Have a good one.